Hi, in this video, we're going to explore how does Google Bard AI conversational chatbot helps for cloud engineering. As you see in this PPT here, the main aim is how does Google Bard, can help the the day-to-day life's job of the cloud engineering, right? So as this product was been released by Google, so they have focused more on the capability of Google Bard is it will help the developers or it will help the coders basically, right? So by considering that point, I'm just gonna do a certain experiment on the Google Bard AI conversational tool to check how does it really helps even for the cloud engineers. Okay, so the cloud engineers are the one who works on the the cloud service providers like GCP, Azure, AWS, and blah blah, right? So how does really it will help in those engineers who are working on the clouds? Okay, all right. So with that note, so let's just directly jump for the Google Bard. As you know, so just an introduction about the Google Bard. So Google Bard is a recent released new product from Google. So this is a conversational chatbot like ChatGPT. It is it is built with a high which is it is built with a supported by the artificial intelligence, and it has a capability to to give all kind of information that you need possibly. Yeah, all right. So just to access the Google Bard web page, you have to search Google Bard in the Google engine. Yeah, so when you search it, so you will have the first option, that is https://bard.google.com. So if you open that, so it is just gonna validate you, saying like, are you not a, if you are not a chatbot, or if you are not a, sorry, bot basically. If you have already logged in your Google account, so I have already logged with my Google account, which is meant for my YouTube channel. So then you will be redirected to this site. Let's say if you are not logged in into your Google account, so you might need to log in. Yeah, once you log in, so this is how the Google Bard web page looks like. Yeah, so this is, as usual, as I said, this is like a very highly talented, highly knowledgeable chatbot basically. And this chatbot, so not only like so it helps to question, give the question answers. The question that you ask, it's not only mean for giving the answer to that one, yeah, but actually it will also provide you lots of information around that questions. Okay, so let's see, how does this is solving the cloud engineers job basically, in the sense how does it helps cloud engineers to their day-to-day job. So when I say cloud engineers, so we do have a roles like DevOps engineer, DevOps support engineer, maybe say architect, yeah, or say the senior architects, lead architects, yeah, basically, and also the testers or the support guys. Okay, so how does the life of those IT professional changes or gets helped with this Bard tool, yeah, which is an experimental chatbot that Google has released. So I'm just going to analyze this tool. So what we do is I'm going to ask the questions around the cloud engineering, belongs to all the cloud, basically main three providers, which includes AWS, Azure, and GCP. And let's see how does it going to help us to answer. Okay, first one, let me ask a general question saying like explain cloud to a layman. Okay, so I'm just asking a few questions just to analyze how does the Google Bard helps us to so with the answers. Okay, so just explain cloud to a layman. Yeah, so I'm just going to ask this question. So this is whatever the pane option that you see is a prompt where you can ask the questions to a Bard. You see currently it is processing. So backend, the Google Bard is supported by a huge artificial intelligence modules, which those models are being trained with the complete internet data. Yeah, so Google has its own mechanism to how did they train those. Yeah, as you know, the Google engine is also doing the similar job like what we are seeing in the chatbots, but it is giving you the links, right, to go and refer. But chatbot is something like a one or two step ahead of that. Not only it gives the links, but it also gives you the the to the point answers. Okay, so what here the question that I asked is explain cloud to a layman, right? So let's say you don't know anything, so how does that cloud will be explained to a layman, right? If you see here, I just going to analyze the answers and see, check if it is to the point. Yeah, so say it says that cloud is a metaphor of for the internet, where we say the storing the data in the cloud, right? Okay, so we mean storing it on a remote server that is are connected to the internet. This is a contrast to the storing the data locally on your computers or locally. Yeah, so that's a to the point answer. Okay, so basically this is how you need to understand. So cloud is nothing but it's not a cloud which reigns, but it is something like it's another server, in the sense another computer device somebody is owning, and those devices are connected to the internet, and the internet users will be have the accessibility to those data or to those services. That's what the basically cloud is, and indeed it has answered to the point. And if I go down, so there are so many benefits of using the cloud components. For example, it can help to save the money on hardware software costs. It can make our data more accessible anywhere. So yeah, here are the sample cloud services, right, which is storage as a cloud service. So in the storage you have the Dropbox, Google Drive, Amazon S3, right? Similarly, the compute, that is so that is AWS EC2 instance, Microsoft virtual machines, Google provider, the GCP's compute engine, right? So these are all the services, that is compute engines. And similarly softwares, that is Salesforce, Workday, Adobe. So they are like the cloud services, yeah, are SaaS products basically. So if you go down, so indeed it really hit the point, right? Basically, in the sense, it is given the answer very discreet, and if that layman goes through these question answers, definitely he will be understood with the what is the layman. Okay, and there is also another feature which is integrated in the answers. If you see, it has three draft. In the sense, to a question it is providing you three options. If I so first, now it is by default it will set to the draft one, which is a higher probability of the answers. The same questions might have a different way of answering it, right? So that there are the second draft. If you read the second draft, it says, so cloud computing is a way to storing or accessing the data and programs over the internet spread of the country. So if I switch back to this one, it says meta for something, right? But if you switch to the draft two, which is a second answer, which is almost close but in a different word, different mechanism to present it. Yeah. Similarly, if you go to the draft three, so basically, to a question, it is drafting three answers. In that one, it considers draft one as with a high probability answers, and it does produces. Okay, so that is how basically the Google bot is working. And indeed, we agree that so basically this is hitting the point. Yeah, let's go to the next one. So what I do is I'm going to answer ask the questions which are relevant to the cloud engineering. When I say cloud engineering, it includes all the roles revolves around the cloud engineering, right? So let's say I will ask the next question, that is I will explain what is GCP compute engine. Yeah, so I'll just say which is a virtual machine provided by GCP. So I will say explain what is compute engine, yeah, and in GCP. Let's see, how does so the BARD helps us to understand what is compute engine in the GCP, right? So it says Google compute engine, which is so I think that I have asked the question in a different way. So but the data, but the the BARD has an intelligence that it understood the question's meaning, okay, and then it has reframed the answers accordingly. Yeah? So it's a Google Compute Engine is an infrastructure as a it's a IaaS service offering from Google Google Cloud Platform. It allows you to create and run the virtual machines on the Google infrastructures. VMs are fully customizable, and you can choose variety. So basically, the answers that is producing, so it looks to the point. Okay, so GCE is a great price and a variety of workloads. It's web hosting purpose. You can use it. You can use it for database hosting, big data, right? So variety of workloads, in the sense it could be used for these kind of tasks. Yeah. All right. So then so yeah, indeed, so it has helped us to so for example, let's say you are exploring the, say you have started to learn GCP. You can ask the questions to the board, asking so wherever you are stuck, wherever you want to get insights, you can do that. Similarly, every question has its own drafts. Yeah. And below the line, it also provides certain links as well, so you can also explore the links. Share you can share it, you can Google it. Basically, if I click on Google it gonna say so what is GCP. These are the links basically. So if you click on this one, so it will gonna give you those. Yeah, so the basically whatever the so looks like they are, Google is very intelligent, right? So they have reused the capability of compute engine and converted that into a chatbot. That's what it looks. Maybe this may not be correct, but that is my prediction as per my experience, as per my the IT knowledge. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna go to the next one. That is, let's ask the next high level question. So I'm gonna keep asking the question to the next level, next level, next level. Okay. So let's see. Yeah. So now what I do is I'm gonna say. So let's say let's say DevOps engineer. So how does the DevOps engineers works, right? So what is, I'm gonna ask questions on the Terraform side. So let's say we'll just write a Terraform code code to provision GKE. Yeah, let's say not GK, let's go to the AWS. Now I'm going to switch the question to the AWS, say EKS. Write a Terraform code to provision EKS. So if the bard has a knowledge like what is EKS, then only it can able to answer it. And then what is a Terraform code, it can answer it. Basically, it contains certain keywords, Terraform, EKS. So bard has to have a knowledge what is EKS, what is Terraform, then combine those questions and try to answer the questions. Yeah, let's see, if bard can do this for us. So what I'm asking is, this is like something like, for which is used for infrastructure guys, that is to set up the infrastructure in the cloud. EKS is it's Elastic Kubernetes services from AWS. Let's see if it can return the code which will provision the EKS cluster for us. Looks like it has done it. So here are the some Terraform P code provision to EKS cluster. Okay, say so yeah, as you know that we are set the Terraform for we first set the providers for Terraform, that is AWS. And then so we are actually creating a one more provider for AWS, because in AWS each region is one provider. And then it is creating a resource called AWS EKS cluster, and it is just creating a default cluster with the default options. If you just provide the cluster name, that's enough. By default, AWS has a capability to use backend services, say VPC, subnets, storage bucket, yeah, and the resources around it, right, and provision the final services, that is EKS, yeah, and that's what it is doing. And looks like it is hitting the point. So I will say, and then it also explain what does that code means. Then it also explaining how to use that code as well. And then if you see that also how to use the Terraform output config as well, in the sense basically just to log in or access that particular the EKS cluster. Yeah, I will say, I will just tell him this is wrong. I will just try to try to confuse the bard. Okay, let me say this is wrong answers. Okay, let me say this is wrong answer. I will desperately say, I mean deliberately say it's a wrong answer. It's this is wrong answer. We'll say this is wrong answer. I will just say this is wrong answer. Let's see how does it responds. Basically, it's a conversational AI, in the sense it keeps the history of the questions, and based on the history it tries to answer the question. So basically, so it says your code, you are correct. Basically, the code provider in the AKS cluster resource has been deprecated in version 2. Looks like it is enhancing the answers one after the other. Yeah, and then it is, yeah, basically the body of the code is correct indeed, but I'm just trying to confuse it. Looks like it is coming over of that as well. So it has a capability to stick to the correct answer. When it is correct, it has a capability to say correct as well. Here is the correct Terraform code, and under the hood it is providing the same code. The one it is changing here is, if you see here, so it has changed the beta version 1 beta. So if I can check this in the internet, again we are hitting the so the basically we are hitting the Google engine only. I'm just trying to confuse it, but looks like so yeah, we need to be so yeah, if you see the Terraform registry, so we still have the resource type, that is AWS EKS cluster, right? So the first answer that it has given is AWS EKS cluster, which is correct. But when I tried to confuse it, it got confused. Yeah, let me ask it. This I will tell. This is also not correct. This is also not correct. I'm deliberately doing this. It's not like the first answer is itself is a correct. Yeah, so this is also not correct. So let's see, why I'm asking these questions. So the question first I asked is relevant. The next question is, I'm asking is just deliberately to check the capability of it. Okay. So the correct resource, is indeed it is telling, it is trying to hit the point. Anyways, this is conversational chatbot. It has its own capability, and we need to use those own capability, right? So not to go around and make it confused. That's just an input, right? So indeed, so it is again reverted back and say that here is a correct Terraform code. You are correct with the code I provided is also not correct. That is the resource. This is the beta one is deprecated one, and it is telling that so this is the below code is indeed this is a code is correct. Yeah. All right, so looks like so yeah, indeed, so whatever the answer it does provides, the first shot, that will be definitely correct. Yeah, that is what we can tell it here. All right, okay, so and you also have a 3 drafts, indeed. So whenever we go to the Google and try to search something, we actually go for multiple links and try to find out the accurate answer. Okay, so even if you go for the Stack Overflow to get a particular answer, you have to read multiple the Stack Overflow question and answer. So then only you're going to get the real one which is fits to your use cases. Likewise, we have to do for the the cloud engineering as well. Now let me go and ask another question for Azure. I will say explain I will say explain what is private link in Azure, right? Let's say, so how does it explain? So what is private link in Azure? So basically private link is a service in Azure which will, which will make the resource sitting in the virtual network to access the services that Azure provides with a within the network traffic going through the the backbone virtual network provided by Azure. In the sense, it's a private connectivity service which will help to access the services, or which will help to send your traffic. Instead of going through the internet, they will go through the Azure provided backbone network. So if I can read this answer, the Azure private link is a feature that allows you to connect to the Azure services privately. Indeed, okay, that's a to the point answer. Yeah, this means that your traffic is not exposed to the public internet, which is improves the security by performance. Yeah, indeed, it has given the answers. Okay, now let me ask the one more questions with regards to the coding. That is, let's say PowerShell coding. Yeah, so I will tell a piece of code, PowerShell code to create so to create private link. Yeah, so let me say private link for Azure storage account. So this is a bit hard question. So basically what I'm asking is, I'm asking infrastructure as a code in PowerShell to do this. Yeah, so I'm just asking PowerShell code to create a private link in Azure storage account. Yeah, let's see if does it gives the answer for us. So what I'm doing is, the question that I'm asking here is, revolves around the cloud engineering. So when I say cloud engineering, it's a big domain, big multiple roles they are revolves around. Let's see if it is hitting the point or are giving the answers as expected. So here is a PowerShell code to create a PowerShell, the private link for storage account. Okay, so first one, that is Azure RM. So it looks to be still using old module. This is not Azure RM. This is so basically, let's see, import AZ module. I think import AZ module. It should be AZ module. Import AZ PowerShell module. So if I hit the question, so basically if I go to the Microsoft one, so if we see that the basically Azure RM is the old version. If I go to the Azure PowerShell, so we go to the Azure PowerShell. So AZ is a latest model. So this is Azure RM. Yeah. All right. So basically AZ PowerShell model is the latest model. So let's see if it is what does it tells. Basically, I'm just trying to cross verify. Yeah, looks to that. So basically, if I go down, this is import Azure RM. Yeah, that is the PowerShell module. And then it is doing the setting the context of subscription and resource group. First one, it is getting the storage account, so according to our naming convention. Then create a private network, so private virtual network endpoint. So that is the AZ. So whatever the commands that you see here, get AZ, new AZ, which is nothing but the latest Azure PowerShell commands. That is new AZ private endpoint, and this is the what it is doing. And then wait for the the private endpoint getting created. So it is creating the wait for private endpoint to get created, because endpoint creation is taking much time. To create a private endpoint, it is asking for resource group, storage account name, and then the subnet ID as well. Yeah, and then finally it says get the private endpoint IP address. Yeah, that is private endpoint IP address is been done, and finally it is printing, providing the private endpoint. Yeah, so looks like it is also doing the job, and it is finally telling this is how you need to invoke the PowerShell. Yeah, all right. So with that, let me go to the ask the few more questions around the AWS. So let's ask say how to enable VPC endpoint for say EKS. So basically, I'm asking a question which is relevant to the cloud engineering only. This is now this time EKS. I will just say AWS EKS. Yeah. So whenever you ask the right questions in the right way with the proper keywords, so definitely the bot is answering the questions in the right way. Here you go. It is a very simple process to enable the the VPC endpoint. It is very simple. If you see, it is telling, go to your VPC, go to the networking, go to the VPC endpoint, create a VPC endpoint. Then while creating endpoints, you search for Amazon EKS service, and then select the subnet, and you will gonna create it. So I will say how to create it with the Terraform. How to create the same. How to create the same with Terraform. Yeah. So I'm just gonna ask these questions. So what I'm actually asking is, so how to create the same with the Terraform? In the sense, it has told me that hey, go there and create it. Okay, but let's say you want to do that in a Terraform. It's a simple one. So I think it has done the job. That is so give the name your VPC endpoint, Then give the service name, that is that is com.amazon.aws.us.eks. This is your VPC ID, this is a subnet. Yeah, indeed it is working. So if you want to recheck it, you can do same. Just go to the registry of Terraform and try to find out the syntax of that. So basically this is how it does. Yeah, so basically you see it is how it is correct, that is VPC ID is needed, service name is needed. Yeah, basically they are the two important parameters it is asking. It is actually getting the data. So it means that it is also answering those questions correctly. I will just say, so explain well architected well architect framework of AWS. Okay, this is one of the architect level questions. Explain well architect framework of AWS. Yeah, so basically this is like a question which an AWS architect has to know it. Let's see whether it gonna cover those well architect framework of AWS, that is operational excellency, security, reliability. Yeah, it is has hit the answers. You see the answers that it has returned are exactly like AWS documents tells us to, that is operational excellency, security, reliability, performance, efficiency, cost optimization, sustainability. Right, so indeed it is giving. And if you go to the answers to understand in more detail, you can see this is a pillar for the ability to optimize the cost to minimize. Okay, so basically it is giving the answers. Not only that, you will also has a regenerate the drafts. Okay, so looks like, if you see here, if the answer is to the point, it is not giving the draft. So but there are certain questions which contains the draft. If I go to the this one, so if I go to the above, so we have a draft as well. So if you go to the drafts, regenerate the drafts. So basically I'm just asking again. Okay, so whether try to find out the better answer. So then you can click on a regenerate. Yeah, so not only like by writing the, so indeed it is written the same answer. Yeah, and view the drafts. Okay, so you see the drafts, it is telling that so the same answer could be presented in a two different format, and this is what it is giving you the answers. Okay, all right, so now I know we have the another options, that is just to not to just to type the questions here. You can also speak the questions, in the sense it also has the capability of microphone. So let me ask a questions like here. So just all right, so I'm just speaking. Yeah, and I need to stop it or else it will gonna keep it. So I will stop it, and I'm gonna give a my so give a back. Now I will ask a question from the microphone, and does it say, let's see, and how does it answers. So I will click on this one. Could you please explain what is GCP Anthos? All right, I will stop it. So basically, whatever the voice it is there, and so it is converting that into text, and it is helping us to answer it. So I will say GCP Anthos, in the sense, what is GCP Anthos? If you hit the point, so could you please explain what is GCP Anthos? So GCP Anthos is a service which will help us to manage the Kubernetes cluster across the cloud, across the across the even on premises. I have made a video on this one. You can check it from there. GCP Cloud Platform Anthos is a hybrid cloud, hybrid and multi-cloud platform that lets you to build, deploy, and manage the application across the on-premises, edge, multiple clouds. Anthos provides you consistency. Yeah, so basically, looks like it is answering the questions. Yeah. All right. So with that note, so we have seen. Okay, let me ask the one more thing, that is there is a one more feature which we need to definitely explore, that is upload a file. So what I do is I'm going to upload a JPG file, and let it say how does it explains. Okay, what I do is I'm going to explain I'm going to give a thumbprint of my videos. Say let's use this, and let's see how does it answers to that question. I will just say explain this. Yeah. So this is a very new feature in the, I think, the first in the market. So what I'm doing is I'm just giving a picture which contains handling the Amazon DynamoDB with a Go. So let's see how does it explains that particular picture. Okay, so it also has a capability to explain the picture. Yeah, so which is a great one. So sure, this image is sent to a diagram. Sent is a diagram of DynamoDB task that is to handle with the Go. Indeed, it is discovered and create a DynamoDB, go to the functions, blah blah. Right, so looks like it is, yeah, indeed, right. So this is very intelligence, right? So let's say you have a picture, you don't know what is it, you can ask, you can give that to Bard, Bard is able to answer those questions. Okay, all right, let me ask the final question for software engineering. Say, I will say write a code for Fibonacci series, yeah, which is a difficult one. Fibonacci series. So Fibonacci, I don't know spelling. Fibonacci series code. Kubernetes series, yeah, all right. Series code in Python. Yeah, all right. So if I ask this question, write a code for Fibonacci series in Python, let's see, how does it answers. So basically, so this is the natural Python code which will help us to create a Fibonacci series. So till now we were asking questions on the cloud engineering. Let's see, if it returns the Fibonacci series number. Looks like it has returned. So basically, so yeah, here you go. So it has returned a Fibonacci series. Indeed, it works. And so not only for so basically this tool was developed to help the developers, but not only developers, even the cloud engineers can take help it. Now let me ask some questions on GitHub Actions. I will say, write a GitHub action workflow to run a Python code for AWS. Yeah, I'm just asking the tricking questions, very tricky questions. So write a GitHub action workflow to run a Python, Python code for AWS. Let's see. So what I'm expecting is it should write a workflow file which will help us to invoke the Python piece of a piece of Python code which is written in a file, but it should run for AWS as well. So let's see, what does it includes. So it tell, if Kubernetes series number, you can use it. So basically it told me, no, I don't know what is your AWS mean, but I have writing this Python, I'm writing this piece of code for to run a particular particular Python code with using GitHub action workflows, which is used for CI/CD jobs purpose. Yeah, and indeed it has explained the workflow in a right manner. It has returned the workflow in a right manner. Yeah. All right. So with that note, I think I have shown you that the BARD is capable of doing all cloud engineering supports, or helping the cloud engineers to do their job, day-to-day job easily. So earlier what we do is we used to go around the internet, search here and there, go this and that. But now BARD is a tool, a central plane where you can ask the question and get your answers. Okay. But note that so always test the answers, then get it confirmed. All right. So with that note, thank you very much for watching my videos. A kind request, please do subscribe my channel. That would really encourage me a lot. So with that note, thank you, thanks a lot, and see you in the next video.